Welcome to the EOB podcast where we discuss the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I am Ben No and joining me is Sen Duong. So let's begin. Sen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome to another week.
All right. Dumb and Dumber 2 actually did a lot better than either of us expected.
Dumb and Dumber 2, yes, both of us were projecting the movie to make somewhere between 15 to 20 million range.
Yeah,
And it did way better than that with estimated 38 million haul.
yeah, that's. I guess people loved that movie a lot more than I expected, and that
So,
movie had a lot more fans than I expected.
why do you think
Than
that is?
both of us expected, actually.
Exactly. Why do you think that is?
Uh, it's me. Well,
If
I
we
like.
know, if we know, we wouldn't predict the movie to make 15 million,
Yeah, I mean, I like the first movie a lot.
right?
Um, but I thought people. I didn't know that. Um, that film actually had fans that are this loyal, you know because they made that that prequel, which kind of tanked. Well, it didn't tank. I guess it did as well as you could expect without Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
Right.
you know um but I guess in hindsight, I guess maybe I guess Jim Carrey is still a draw as long as he goes back to doing that kind of comedies. Maybe people just miss him in that kind of comedies.
I
Oh,
don't know because like I mean I read uh other people explanation for why it did so well, and it probably is because like it's a popular movie on cable, and VOD. So since it's
um,
getting so much play in those in that area, and I guess that's why they're building up fans.
uh, yeah,
So you
I mean
buy
that.
that?
I buy that. That could be why it's still present. You know.
Uh-huh.
But the other thing that they don't mention is that how Jim Carrey's recent movies, he's been trying to be the comedian who expands, uh, by doing work that's kind of different from what his earlier work
Mm-hmm.
was, which is Dumb and Dumber,
Mm-hmm.
and The Mask,
Mm-hmm.
and Ace Ventura.
Right. So
But basic,
he's trying to get away from physical comedy of his early movies.
yeah, and doing
Uh,
more of more of a
he, he's
some,
he's an actor.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
trying to, he's an actor,
Yeah. Right. Right.
trying to expand beyond that, kind of like Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe he's trying a little too hard to be Bill Murray, and
Well,
people
to
just
to
and
to
people just miss, the old Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask.
right. I mean, to be fair, I think he can act.
Yeah,
Um,
I
it
mean,
just
yeah, just
yeah, it's just that his movies haven't been, like outside of his, what he's known for. It's not doing, that well.
yeah. I mean, with the exception of the his later films, his expansion into his expansion outside of physical comedy have been solid. It's just maybe people miss the old Jim Carrey, where it's just just like lightweight comedy that's just kind
Hmm.
of you can check your brain out in front of the box office, and just go in and have a laugh.
Right, right, right.
Maybe I
Much
mean did
people want to
way better
see
than.
Carrey and not Jim Carrey, the actor.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
right, right, and then that's why, well, it's surprising that Dumb and Dumber does so well because like it's been like over 20 years.
Yeah, yeah,
right? And you know his recent strings of movies were not that great. And
right.
then that whatever prequel, Dumb and Dumber 2, what was the name? When Harry met Lloyd, or Lloyd met Harry,
Yeah.
I think made only how much?
I mean, it opened around 15 million, I remember.
Yeah.
And I think when it's all said and done, it made like 45 of million.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It made around like 40 some million worldwide. That's worldwide, and I think domestic it made around 26 or some or so.
Oh, it made, let me see, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. So I guess that's why Dumb and Dumber 2 is so surprising.
Oh, it did worse than I thought.
Yeah.
It only opened, it only opened to about 11 million,
Yeah.
and it crashed and burned pretty quickly.
Yes, right. And it's probably one of those movies where it is star driven. Like people want to see Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not where like the comedy is transferable to other like actors.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And I guess Jim Carrey is still a draw if he goes back to that, doing those kind of movies.
I guess so. I
Or
mean,
maybe people felt like they've seen too much of Jim Carrey trying to be the actor, and they just want him to go back to, the what made him big to begin with,
hmm
which is, physical comedy.
right? Or maybe people just don't take him seriously
Yeah,
when he
that
appears in
too.
the movies.
Well,
Yeah.
people have just been like, hey, we've seen enough of you trying to be an actor. We admire it. We think you're
hmm
doing a good thing, but let's go back to, what made you big. Just,
hmm
maybe the balance is too much Jim Carrey trying to be the actor
hmm
instead of Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, the physical comedian.
Right. Maybe he should mirror his career like Bill Murray, which is like he actually made this transition when he's older,
Hmm.
way older, into more of a character actor instead of a star.
Yeah,
Um, and then that's when Jim Carrey, I mean not Jim Carrey, but Bill Murray starred in all these like different type of dramas.
right. Yeah,
Like for example, Saint Vincent, which is playing in theaters right now,
yeah, and it's doing really well.
doing quite well. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you think? Do you think we'll see the mask too?
Mm.
I
I say
guess,
no. I say no. I say no.
you know,
I say no. I not because they don't want the mask. I think it's because Jim Carrey doesn't want to do the mask too.
that's a weird thing. I didn't think he wanted to do Dumb and Dumber 2 too, but he
Mhm.
did. I think he's reached one of those points where he has so many. He had a consecutive string of box office
Mhm.
duds that
Mhm.
it,
Right.
that he's starting to mine his old material.
Yeah, but see, yeah, unless he's forced to, I don't think he would want to because I don't think he actually like doing physical comedy right now. I think he wants to be taken seriously.
But now that this has, I wonder if this will have any effect on him. I wonder if the mask. You don't think New Line will go to him and go, hey, let's do, let's work on the mask too.
I'm pretty sure that will happen, but I think if given a choice, he would want to do it.
You don't think he'll do it?
I don't think he'll do it.
Uh,
I think he would continue to do more dramas because I think that is the craft. I mean that's the direction he wants to go in and has been going in.
mm,
And this is one of those things where I don't know. It's been a while. For one reason or another, the sequel never happened until now.
yeah, because
Yeah.
right now he needed one.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
His
and
career,
then
his career was going downhill, so he needed one.
yeah, it was. And it's just like Jeff Daniels doing decent by himself, right, with his TV
Yeah,
series,
yeah.
and like Jim Carrey, as busy as always, right,
Mm.
and then the Farrelly brothers, had their
Well, I
own
guess
movie.
they all needed this. Like the Philly brothers didn't. they haven't been doing that well either. So
Mm-hmm.
all three of them, in terms of their film career, um, had been going downhill, and they needed a Hail Mary, and Dumb and Dumber 2 was their Hail Mary. So
Oh,
now that I wonder, and with such a low budget too. I mean, they made it for 40 million.
mhm. I believe they actually wanted to do it for 60 or so, but I think there's some pushback from New Line, and that's part of the delay too.
Yeah,
Um,
right. So now
yeah.
now that they made but I guess the bottom line was they got it down to 40 million, and they made
Mhm.
almost 40 million for the
Mhm.
weekend.
Yes.
So um, so I wonder now that New Line's like, hey, this became such a huge hit. Why don't we why don't we do The Mask 2, which is another one of Jim Carrey's,
Yeah.
probably his most popular, probably one of his most popular films.
You know what? I actually think that the Dumb and Dumber 3
Mm.
have a higher chance of happening than the Mask 2.
What makes you say that?
Mainly because I think to do the Mask 2, I think we require a higher budget.
Well,
And I think Dumber 3 is the sure bet.
yeah. Now that Chew has
Right.
become a hit, I
And
could see that on a budget level,
mm,
you can make something like Dumb and Dumber 2 for a cheaper price than the Mask 2, because the Mask 2 requires special effects, and special
right,
effects
right,
is more expensive than ever.
right.
Yeah.
And and it's easier to get these people together than I mean, with the Mask 2, you pretty much have to start off with a new cast.
No, you can still do Jim Carrey.
No, Jim Carrey, but then the surrounding characters, you pretty much have to, like start anew.
Yeah, but no one cares about the other characters. They only care about Jim Carrey.
Right. So see that
The difference with
that's where the risk is, It's just, oh,
no,
there's
I
Jim
don't know.
Carrey.
I don't like with Dumb and Dumber 2. They have to get Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
Hmm.
With the Mask, all they need is Jim Carrey.
Yes, and that's also part of the risk too. I mean, I think part of it is nostalgia with Dumb and Dumber too. Like people pretty much grew up with these characters, I guess, right?
Well, I don't know. They only made one film.
I know, but like
I'm
subsequent
saying like
plays
the
with
Mask. The
real.
Mask is probably one of his most popular characters in terms of with kids.
Hmm.
Like you always hear kids talking about the
Hmm.
Mask,
Hmm.
and it's one of it's one of those films where I'm like, I thought they would make a Mask 2 before they would make a Dumb and Dumber 2, but they ended up doing Dumb and Dumber 2. Maybe like you said, because they can make it cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway,
And yeah, and that's why I think like the likelihood of Dumb and Dumber 3 happening is higher than the Mask 2.
mm,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah. And maybe it will happen. Who knows?
Yeah, although I think after this they'll try to mine the Mask 2 then.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Yes,
That's on your wish list, I'm sure.
especially since they made the Mask 2 without Jim Carrey. I'm like,
Mhm.
kind of like what they did with Dumb and Dumber. They made Dumb and
Mhm.
Dumber the prequel without Jim Carrey.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I could see it following the same trend as as Dumb and Dumber, where they'll finally get Jim Carrey to agree to do a an official sequel.
Right.
Yeah. Let's move on to Big
Okay.
Hero 6.
Big Hero 6 coming in number two.
Yeah,
36 million.
yeah, hell off, you know, as well as we expected.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
both of us had it number
I had it
one, but
on the mark at 35, almost right
yeah.
on the mark.
Yes, you're
In
pretty close.
in that range, which
Mhm.
is about right.
Mhm.
If we took your average, is about 35 million too.
Mhm. Mhm. It's always to go with a range.
Yeah. But Interstellar held up better than either of us expected.
Mm-hmm.
No, we were pegging it at low 20s, but it actually ended up with in the high 20s, 29 million.
Yeah, and I think it's because of maybe it is the Chris Nolan brand, and
Um,
the marketing push. I mean, it is, and it is different from the rest of the movies out there.
yeah, I I was kind of I wasn't expecting it to hold up that well because mainly because I feel like it's one of those movies where the payoff wasn't there. And so I
Mm-hmm.
thought the word of mouth would be, and the word of mouth was only average according to Cinema Score.
Right, right.
But I guess it's one of the few films, one of the few adult films out there right now. No,
And
you either go and watch Dumb and Dumber 2, Big Hero 6. If you're an older audience, and
no, sure.
um,
No, even with the teenage crowd. I mean, if you put banner up there and saying from the director of Batman Begins or the Batman Rises, or the Dark Knight Rises, excuse me. Yeah, they would draw some people in.
hmm, wait, what was the demo for this? I think it's older, right?
I'm not sure.
No, the tracking. I think it is an older crowd, and I don't think it's the teenage crowd.
No, I'm sure that it's like a mix, but like it might trend more toward the older crowd, but
Yeah, which
but
is what
but
I'm saying. The older crowd. If you're an older crowd and you look at the what's out there, there aren't much out there for them. There's Gone Girl, but Gone Girl's already been playing for the last
right, right.
theaters for the last 2 months, and then there's Saint Vincent, which is only which is your only other choice. So uh, you know, um, I guess maybe that's why it's holding up so well.
Yeah, but I say don't discount the teenage audience.
Oh, I'm not discounting
Yeah.
them. I'm just saying they weren't, as the demo, they weren't as high as the other the older demo for it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, and I think it'll probably drop the third week
As it goes on.
as it goes on. You know.
It could.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to for example, Interstellar made 29 million, coming in number three.
Yeah. So that
I will plug that in, and let's see.
Beyond the Lights.
Number four coming in. Number four is Beyond the Lights, 6.5 million.
That did kind of worse than I expected. I was thinking you never underestimate the black audience.
Right, right. I mean, I had it at number five, under Gone Girl, but did better than that.
Yeah, I mean I had it at number 4, but I pegged it at 10 million,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
I was thinking it could even do close to 15 million.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, but it ended up with 6.5. I guess, which is lower than I expected. I was thinking the black crowd will head out to see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, normally, movies made for the black crowd, as you say, usually do pretty well, maybe in the 15 to 20 range. But this one, for some reason or another,
Mm.
didn't do that well.
Yeah, just didn't appeal to that crowd. Maybe it's the marketing. I'm not sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we move on?
Let's move on. Let's go to number five.
Yeah, Gone Girl.
One girl still staying, still holding on.
Yeah, 25%. It's looks like it's gonna stay up there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Gone Girl, I had it at 4.5 million, almost.
Yes.
But then I had St. Vincent at 5. So
Really, those two movies are interchangeable right now because
yeah,
not a lot separates them, and and these are estimates after all.
right,
So when you have like a couple $1,000 separating them, I mean, there's not much
yeah,
separation really.
right.
You know.
And those two, yeah, it looks like um, Although it's dropping at a pace where I don't know, 200 million. What do you think? You think it needs another 50 million to reach 200? Do you think
It won't get to 50 million.
it's not going to get another 50 million?
It's not gonna get another 50 million unless no, even if they re-release it with a new marketing push, I don't think it'll get 50 million.
So you don't think it'll get to 200?
No, 50 million is tough, especially right now. I think the people who've seen it have already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough,
All right.
you know. And yeah, let's leave it
I'm,
at that.
I'm
I
gonna
think.
say I'm gonna say with the Oscar push and everything, eventually it'll get to 200.
Okay, sure. All right, but yeah,
You got it with the Oscar push and everything, it's not gonna get there.
no, 50 million is tough.
All right. Okay. I'll put it in. It'll get
Okay,
to
okay.
200.
But we'll see. We'll come back to that and then see if
All
you're
right.
right or not.
Okay. St.
50
Vincent.
million is a lot. Okay. St. Vincent, the Bill Murray movie.
Yeah. So we already kind of talked about that. This
Right, right.
thing up there.
This thing still, I mean, the fall and winter season are mainly for, like movies geared toward adults. And these two movies are holding up well, and we're seeing that.
Yeah. And
Um,
well, Bill Murray, another winner for him.
yeah, but like the thing with St. Vincent is kind of low key. This movie,
Yeah. Well,
you
yeah. It's one of those. It's distributed by the Weinstein Company. So an indie sort of a indie outfit.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm surprised they didn't do any stunt marketing for this one. Like, oh, I'm
yeah.
having an argument with the director, and we're gonna cut his movie by
Right.
such minutes, and then at the last minute give in. You know.
Right. 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 Maybe they're saving all of that for the Oscar push.
Maybe, maybe.
No.
All right, Fury number seven, 3.8 million, and I'm still okay, still holding,
Yeah,
still
it's
in the
still
top
holding
10.
up pretty well, and it's 76 million. Looks like you'll get to 80 million.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing fine.
Which is decent for a movie which we don't really have high expectation of.
Yeah, I know. I went to work on my abs instead of watching it.
Right, 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 right.
So,
Okay.
so until I
Okay,
watch
moving.
it, and you're done. Okay,
Yeah.
moving on.
Okay, moving on to number eight, Nightcrawler, 3 million.
Oh
A
yeah.
movie which is very well reviewed, but no one seems to like it. No one wants to go out and watch it.
You know what? It's all relative because when you look at it, looks like it's already took in 25 million.
Hmm.
It's released by an indie outfit
Hmm.
and looks like it'll probably end up making 30 million.
Hmm.
And with a budget of only 8.5.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it looks like it's already made 3 times its budget. So I think we have to look at this as not a Gyllenhaal mainstream movie, but rather as an indie movie. And if you look at it as an indie movie, it's doing really well. Whenever you can make a movie that makes 3 times its budget, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, this movie has the potential to perform way better.
I'm not sure
I don't
because
know.
everyone who's seen it is like, well, it's kind of one of those movies that are kind of out there.
Hmm.
It's really an indie movie that's gonna make around 30 million. So I'm like, you know what? I would call that a hit.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Because it's
look at,
not it's not like it's a Warner Brothers movie that's thrown out there with a huge marketing push
Mhm.
that's expected to do 100 million. But when you look at it as by an indie outfit, it didn't get the material is kind of strange, and the budget is only 8.5 million, and it's doing 3 times that
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
box office. I'm sure as the studio who made it, I'm sure they're pretty happy, and it's getting fantastic reviews.
Right, right. I mean, well, the thing is, I'm looking at this. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, if you look at it through the lens of that, it is an indie movie. It's doing great, but I'm seeing this as, oh, okay. I mean, it has the potential to perform much better.
Mm.
and in a sense that's where it disappoints.
Right.
You know,
I think we both started that way.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah,
But once
that's
saw
what I'm
the
saying. Right. That's what I'm saying is that it has the potential to perform much better.
right.
Regardless of the budget. I mean, if you look at it, oh yeah, like made three times this budget, it's a hit, right? But I'm saying it has the potential to do much better, and it didn't. So that's why I say, oh, okay, why? That's one thing.
Um, yeah, I'm saying we might have to look at it in a new light. Because before that, we didn't know what the budget was. We didn't
hmm
know they only made it for 8.5 million.
hmm
You know, once you know that, wow, they made it for such a cheap price. And it's really an indie movie that's given a wide release.
hmm
You know, I'm saying like we might have to look at it in with a new perspective. Because
hmm
when we first saw it, we thought it's a a big budget movie, not big budget, but moderately budgeted movie released by a mainstream studio. But when you look back at it, it's not that. So
hmm
we looked at it as that, and we were like, oh, disappointing. But
Right.
if you look at it as what it actually is, it's actually pretty successful.
hmm
Uh,
Yeah, I guess so. All right.
uh, okay, let's move on to
Okay.
Ouija.
Ouija dropping down to number 9 with 3 million.
Yeah, 50 million, 5 million budget, huge success.
I know, did surprisingly well based on a board game.
Yep, yep.
Um, I tried to laugh it off, but
Same here. I try to laugh it off too, but
just did better than. I mean, from now on, I'm gonna say, oh yeah, based on the board game, yeah, it's gonna do well.
yeah.
Candyland, can't wait for Candyland. Um, yeah, so cheap horror movie, which historically has performed well.
Mhm.
And Ouija is one of those.
Right, right. Should we move on to Birdman?
Birdman number 10.
Finally,
It's
maybe.
getting a wide release, I think, right?
Um, I don't know. Well, 800 something theaters is, I guess, semi
Yeah,
wide.
yeah. It's been in limited release. I think it's opening wider.
Oh,
The
okay.
Keaton movie
Mhm.
by Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu. Um, I think about an actor, past his prime, who played a superhero, something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's
right.
based on a stage play too. So and it's getting pretty good buzz.
Yeah, getting. Although,
Like might win some awards.
yeah, getting great, great reviews.
hmm
Although the doesn't seem like it's quite catching on though. Like when you look at the theater average, it's only about 3,000
Uh-huh.
theater, which is um, which is kind of just kind of average.
Yeah, but this is one of those where it's gonna be more popular with the Indie Spirit Award.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to see if it can stay around like St. Vincent,
Uh, well,
you know,
I don't know.
because there is an Oscar push. It is getting great reviews. They all releasing it. It is getting getting a platform release. Getting wider and wider. But I'm not sure if it can hold up though. Is what
That
I'm
that
saying.
that's true because it's been in theaters and now it's just expanding to more.
Yeah,
Um, that's hard to say.
and even though it expanded to 800 something theaters, the per screen average is only about 3,000, which is kind of just
hmm
okay, not great.
Right, right.
But we'll see if it can hold up.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how it performs.
Yeah. And well, I guess John Wick is closing in at 40 million
Uh-huh.
with 20 million budget, which is
Right.
decent.
You're
Yeah.
you're you're saying there will be a sequel, right?
Yeah, I'm saying there'll be a sequel.
Yeah, and I'm saying that there won't be because
Right. I'm, I,
Keanu Reeves is not a sequel guy, but who knows?
yeah, that's true. He's not a sequel guy.
Right.
That is true.
Okay.
I'm thinking on the Lionsgate brand because
Oh,
they'll crank out sequels. I mean, they cranked out sequels to Crank, which wasn't that big of a hit to begin with.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, they, once they have something, they'll try to crank them out.
Right.
But that's the old Lionsgate.
Yeah.
Before they were flush with money.
Right. 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 Right.
Okay. And yeah, and I think one thing to note is that Jon Stewart, the host
Mm-hmm.
of Comedy Central's The Daily Show, his directorial debut, Rosewater,
Mm-hmm.
comes in 13, made only 1.2 million.
Yeah. Kind of. Again, it's one of those films we'll have to see how well it holds up in the coming week.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it only opened in like 370 or so theaters,
Right.
but it has a theater average of 3,200 or so,
Mm-hmm. Which is
with
kind of
decent.
only okay for
Yeah, kind of okay, but you can't expect. Well, I guess so. It's not in wide release. I mean, probably only open in the major markets like New York, LA,
Mhm.
Chicago, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And I'm sure he's been pimping the movie on his TV show,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and those tend to be younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So.
So we'll see if it holds up.
hmm
Um, how are the reviews?
let's check.
Let me see. Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes, one of our favorite sites.
Oh, I know something about it. Let's see.
75%. So yeah, solid reviews.
Pretty good for his first movie.
Yeah, solid for his first movie. Yep.
hmm
Anything sticks out at you? Oh, Foxcatcher. Almost 50, 48 million per screen. I mean,
Oh,
48,000 per screen.
yeah, but those are indie movies, so
Six screens only, so
I
but
know.
still, 48,000 is really good.
Oh, that movie I think, was supposed to release last year, but I think, and it got pushed. Has its release date changed a couple times.
Okay, but that's a really good. That's a solid opening. Six theaters,
hmm
50,000 per screen. That's pretty good.
Yep, yep. It's gonna expand, and they're gonna try to do an award push for this movie.
Right. We'll see how it does as it expands. Will it
hmm
be like, I don't know, what's a good example here? Will it be like uh Birdman, or will it be like St. Vincent, where it'll stay up for a long, long time?
I think this is gonna be
Well,
like
the one is still out on Birdman, whether or not it can stay up there.
Well, let's say it won't catch on.
Birdman,
No, Foxcatcher won't catch on.
you don't think so? 50,000 per screen. That's huge.
Yeah, but it's one of those indie movies. It has a weird subject matter, like it's about the heir of DuPont
Yeah, I mean,
and and,
okay.
and this bodybuilder. So I don't know. We're talking about money in
I,
in
I
in
thought it. I thought
thousand
it was
dollar
a
range,
wrestler.
huh?
It's a wrestler, right?
Oh yeah, wrestler, yeah, or something like that, bodybuilder wrestler. But it's yeah, something of it's this weird story about the heir of DuPont and something about murder.
Oh,
So
okay.
so so it's not exactly a comedy or anything. So it's just one of these weird dramas.
Yeah,
So
Steve
that
Carell.
right, Steve Carell, but it's not like the Steve Carell that we know and love.
Yeah, it's this Steve Carell that's going for an Oscar.
Exactly, and we know
Well,
how those
50
things go.
grand,
Like look at Jim
50 grand,
Carrey. You
well,
know,
50 grand per theater, that's pretty good.
it's good, but we're talking about money. We're talking about
Six screens.
we're
But
talking
even,
about pocket change. You know.
But even for six screens, that's a huge opening.
Okay, you know, if you say so.
I mean, 50 grand per screen. That's like I think uh that I think films that open to that kind of per screen average in limited release like all those what's his name well I'm just saying indie films that open to that kind of average tend to eventually expand and do in the 40 to 60 million range.
Okay, okay.
But
I
I'm not
will.
I'm not
I
saying
will.
this, not saying this will eventually do that well, but I'm saying like films that open with this kind of average can do that well.
Okay. I will take your word for it.
You would you're not
I
gonna
would.
go the other way. You're not gonna say it's not gonna catch on.
I already said that. Okay, if you want me to repeat, it's not gonna catch on.
You could be right though. It could just be one of those films that kind of is really just for the indie crowd, and they all rush out to see it,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't get beyond that.
You know, yeah, let's say it has a weird subject matter.
Yeah, it is kind of
And
odd
and
though. I
and,
don't.
and even though it has Channing Tatum,
Hmm.
Pharrell, Mark Ruffalo, good actors all, but this is unlike their typical movies.
Yeah. Yep.
They're the people who normally turn out for a Channing Tatum movie would not
Hmm.
turn out for this one.
You never know.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
this is not the 40-year-old virgin Steve Carell.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they're in it for a shock if they're expecting something like the typical movies.
Right.
You know,
Oh, the Maze Runner finally broke 100 mil.
yay,
So
yep,
that's
and yeah, the sequel is moving forward.
right.
Yeah,
Looks like the Equalizer is 1 million away from about a million away from 100 mil.
they'll break that easily.
So they'll probably in a couple of weeks they'll probably get there.
Hmm.
Um, you see anything standing out?
Not really.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about The Best of Me. The
The best
movie
of
which
me.
I predicted to be widely successful.
So well, it is closing in on its budget. It made 25.7 million so far. The budget is 26 million, so it is closing in on its budget. But it didn't do as well as the other Nicholas Spark
Yes, yes, yes,
Roma.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Seems like nobody cares about James Marsden's abs.
yeah, I guess not. I
That's
guess
sad.
not. They care about Channing Tatum's abs, but not James Marsden.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
They
And
also, you know what? They also care about the other guy.
oh, I know who you're talking about. I'm just drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, same here. That's what happens when you get to 40.
He's in Drive and Only God
Kids.
Forgives. Uh,
Yeah.
Ryan
Uh,
Gosling.
yeah, Ryan Gosling. See,
Yes.
yeah, people care about Ryan Gosling's abs.
Hmm.
They care about Channing Tatum's abs, but not James Marsden.
Which goes to show not all abs are created equal.
Yes, true. Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, hey, let's move on to next week.
All right.
This week opening
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Uh, what's opening this week?
The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part One.
That's gonna bomb. No
You
one
sure?
gives a crap about
Okay,
that.
okay. Well, people are predicting this movie will bulldoze everybody.
Yeah, it will.
You think it's gonna open up to over 100 million?
Um,
What are we talking about here?
uh, I think, yeah, especially since the previous ones have opened over 100 million, I think it'll definitely do over 100 million. it's just what we do 200 million, like
Uh,
the first one opened to 152 million,
hmm.
and then the second one did 158 million.
Uh-huh.
So now the only thing is, um, this one, if it doesn't open to near 160 million, people would, consider it slightly disappointing.
Um, just
Yeah,
semantics, really. I mean, it'll if it even if it's open to 150 million, it
yeah,
will.
150
Yeah,
million people will be okay. But I think
yeah,
if it
well,
opened to, like, say, 120 million, people would be like, oh, there's Mockingjay. I mean, in the Hunger Games
uh,
for
yeah, you could say that is disappointing, but it has already made its money,
yeah,
and then they broke the movie, the third book into two movies.
yeah,
They'll come out ahead.
yeah. They'll come up ahead. It's just that, yeah. So what do you think? Will we do 160?
I think so.
Yeah.
Y- You know, um,
Higher? Would you go? Would you move it into 170?
Whoa. Okay. I no. I think no, no. I think 160.
You're sticking with, yeah.
It will do 160-ish. Okay, not 170. No.
Okay. So kind of, yeah. So I guess, yeah, 160 probably. Yeah.
Yeah, because like 170 is tough.
Well, it did do, from the first one did 100. Yeah. So if we add 6 million, 100, I'll just go by whatever the track record is. I mean, the first one did
Uh-huh.
152. Second one did 158. So I'll go with 164.
Right. 164. All right, that's a good number. I'll do it like the price is right. I'll go 165.
Right.
I'll one up you. Anyway, here's the thing. I mean, like it has typically, right? Sequels normally perform worse than their predecessors.
Yeah.
But for like popular franchises like the Harry Potters, right? Catching
Mhm.
Fire now is, I mean, like Hunger Games now is one. The subsequent one usually do a little bit better.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like, oh, there's the word of mouth. There's this it's a big event movie.
Mhm.
People would line up to watch it.
Mhm.
Like this is one of those movies, and Jennifer Lawrence is now more popular than ever.
Mhm. Yep.
So it's that's why it's gonna do well. Perform much, I
You
think,
think
better
those
than
leak, you
the
think
two.
those leak photos of her will help it?
It can only help. I don't see it hurting. It can only help.
Right.
Right? I mean, if people don't know who that thing, people that doesn't know who Jennifer Lawrence, was before, they know now, right?
Ah,
Right?
okay. So you don't
So,
think that's gonna add a bit more to it and push it to the 170 mark?
I don't think so.
Right. Okay, we'll stick with 164.
Right, I'll go with 165. But even if it did, I
Uh,
wouldn't be surprised.
yeah.
I mean, because like we're talking about, like external factors here,
Yeah.
right?
Plus,
Without
we're
the
talking
photo
about
leak,
yeah. Plus, we're talking about a franchise that has been doing really well and
mhm.
that has been well reviewed too.
Right, and it's the exciting conclusion, part one, exciting
Yep.
conclusion, first part of the Hunger Games trilogy.
Yep.
Um, And I
Right.
think that the thing is like, what does this mean for the other movies though, like Big Hero 6, Dumb and Dumber 2, and Interstellar? I mean, what will that do to their box office?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder if you'll. Well, we are going into it is the Thanksgiving weekend though, right?
Yes.
So you think more people will stay at home or will they go out?
Okay, I think historically, I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I think
Historically,
historically
people go out, right?
I think people
because if they go out, then I would think the Big Hero 6 will continue to do well because families will go out and take their kids to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, um, but we'll
Because
see.
there are a lot of stuff going on too. I mean, there's like the shopping season,
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
right.
Hmm.
But that's the thing that people going out shopping. Would they go out shopping and then watch a movie while they're shopping?
I think
Out there at the mall.
I think they do.
Yeah, so maybe Big Hero 6 will hold up. You know.
Yeah, because if they know that people stay home, like with
Mhm.
Halloween,
Oh
then
yeah, they wouldn't release such a huge movie, right?
yeah, then they wouldn't release the big movies on that date.
Right, 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 right. Right.
All right, I think the rankings are going to be remainly relatively similar, with
Hmm.
Mockingjay coming on top, right, with this huge
Yeah.
opening, and then
Hmm.
I think it's probably going to I
Then
don't
it's
know.
gonna be Big Hero 6.
You think Big Hero 6 is gonna hold and stay number two, or is it gonna be like Dumb and Dumber 2?
Um, you know what? I think it'll be well Mockingjay, of course, number one.
Uh-huh.
Big Hero 6, Interstellar, and then Dumb and Dumber 2. So
Yeah,
I don't think Dumb and Dumber 2 will hold up as well as Big Hero 6 and Interstellar.
yeah, but that's what we say that there's no audience for Dumb and Dumber
Yeah,
2.
I know, right. Well, so I'm going with that again. What do you think?
Oh, I think you might be right, but I think I'm gonna go with Big Hero 6 number 2,
Hmm.
Dumb and Dumber number 3,
And then Interstellar.
and then Interstellar.
All right. Okay, we'll stick with that. We'll see you
Okay.
next week.
All right, we'll come back next week and see how we did.
Hmm.
Okay, and I think we're at the end of our podcast. Thanks for listening, and remember to like, subscribe, or whatever you do, and we'll come back next week. Okay, bye everybody.
All right.